Kick off your boots and put down your hunting knife. It's time for the Outdoorman Podcast with the man himself, Outdoorman Dan. Join us for fun stories, useful how-tos, and insights into what being an outdoorsman means today and what it may mean in the future. From ethical hunting and conservation to new stories to tell around the fire. Let's get into today's show with your host, Outdoorman Dan.
I mean, I'm not in a moon boot now. I'm not in a cast. So yesterday I was like,
you just fucking are a moon boot.
Oh no, yeah. So no, yesterday I was like, right, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna try and see if I can put my normal boot on because I found myself sprinting in a moon boot at work on Wednesday. So I was like, oh, it should be all right. So I'm just gently hobbling around this morning in normal boots, which was
yeah, maybe sort of cut between the two.
We'll see how we get on. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because we're not just. Oh, it's teacher training day today, so the kids aren't at school, so we haven't got any work on, which is just as well because it's fucking miserable outside.
I've heard the rain through the WhatsApp messages. Right, where are we? So this episode we've got Jim again. Jim, call me James. He after our last conversation, his ego was so big he wanted to come back on the show, basically, which I quite think quite rude. But you know, I'm struggling for guests, so I let him back on the show. He apparently had a lot more to say until I offered him back on the show. Oh no, I've got nothing to say. So here we are, feeding Jim's ego. I've been looking forward for 2 weeks to say this. 2 weeks it's been nearly.
Yeah, I know.
Just to do that intro.
Well, I was very unprofessional last Friday, and I had to cancel because I got shit-faced the night before.
That's fine. Fine. So, not to disappoint you, I went through some of your YouTube videos, which were all shit, and went looking for questions, and there actually wasn't that many questions on there really, which is quite surprising. Well, no, it's just mainly abuse, you know, and there wasn't that much abuse on there either, really. Maybe it's in foreign language. I don't know. There's a lot of foreign language. Like, I'm not translating that shit. But one of the ones that came up was dogs not biting the ferrets.
Oh, yep.
How do you? So, I mean, I know what I would do, but this is on your YouTube. So we'll go for that first.
Yeah, well, I suppose everybody. I mean, I look at all these videos of guys in the UK and shit, and you know, and it's wonderful seeing the ferrets playing with the pups and things, and then getting them to eat out the same bowl and things like that. I don't know if it's just because my ferrets are pricks, but I mean, I had a guy come to pick up one of the pups recently, and we were at a job, and before he even got there, this poor pup had betadine on its leg, a massive puncture wound because the ferret had come out, grabbed the pup by the front leg and tried to drag it back into the rabbit hole. So so these younger ferrets that I have, they're a year old, they're sometimes they're fine, you know, and obviously our older ferrets will literally just walk between the dog's legs, won't do anything. But these younger ferrets are pricks, so that's why the dogs stay back. They know that if you know the ferrets will try and fuck about and have a bit of a play and bite their legs, etc. I mean, the other thing is, with the dogs biting the ferrets in terms of you know, when a rabbit comes flying out, as I'm sure you will know, rabbits make a hell of a racket when they're coming out. You know, thump, whereas a ferret comes out much more quietly, much more slowly. So there isn't, you know, the dogs are listening for that racket. We have had one incident where the dog bit the ferret, and that was simply because the tunnel was so narrow that the rabbit actually came flying out, shunting the ferret backwards at great speed. And so the dog went fucking furry thing coming out with a racket at great speed, grabbed the ferret, almighty screech from the ferret. The dog went, "Oh fuck, sorry," and that was it. And she was fine. She was absolutely fine. And she's still here 2 years later. But yeah, so it's the dogs are much smarter than I am, so they know, you know, they know what's coming out the hole better than I do.
how do you get the ferrets used to the dogs? Because obviously a lot of your ferrets aren't all tame ferrets because you don't have the opportunity to have tame ferrets, as we discussed previously. You
Yeah.
steal them from the wild like a nasty man, and take them away from their mothers and fathers. Um, so how do you get the sort of how do you get that relationship?
Well, I mean, as
This
the
is like
ferrets get
almost like
older,
a proper podcast. This is fucking gold, man.
I know, but I also feel that I've already answered this question a moment ago
Well,
because
you kind of did.
I
You
got the
kind
question,
of did. You kind of
I
did.
got the question to your answer wrong.
Yeah.
Um, oh, the answer to your question wrong. Yeah, so yeah, it's just time spent with them, time working, and it also, like anything, it just depends what mood the ferrets are in that day. So, or at that time, sometimes they will, like our older ones, you literally just put the cage down and they will trot off straight to the hole where the dogs are. They know that they've been doing this for years, working together now, so they know, right, that's the hole we need to go because that's where the dogs are marking. But the youngsters, yeah, I mean, to say sometimes they'll fuck about. Usually when they're done in the warren, they'll come out and start faffing about and bite the dogs, for a bit of a laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just exposure, working with them. But yeah, the dogs are pretty cautious, and so yeah, it's a sort of a bit of a the dogs try and keep a professional boundary.
Yeah. Fucking
With the
too right.
ferret.
Well, it's like same as me. I try and keep my ferrets my fingers at a fucking professional distance when it comes to ferrets. A good mate of mine said to me, I don't know if I mentioned in the last episode or not. We were putting the collars on, going out, and he's a lovely guy, and his ferrets are handled, but could be handled a little bit more. And he said, just put the collar on that ferret. I'm like, no, it's going to bite me. And I tried to put it on, and it's like, I could see its teeth, and like, that's going to bite. No, it won't. I went, well, you fucking do it. And so I took hold of the ferret, and he went to put the collar on, and it fanged hold of him, good and proper. Went, told you that's going to happen. That was
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah.
With
Right. Those
with
are the
ferrets
questions
like that,
you
you've either got.
gone.
Sorry, mate. Oh, I was going to say, with ferrets like that, you've either got to have a bucket of water handy or a cigarette hanging out your mouth so that you can
Yeah.
enjoy
I
the
should have got
work.
some images of it, but I was too busy picking myself up off the floor, pissing myself with laughter.
Oh, absolutely. You've got zero sympathy for your mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, rightly so.
Um, right. So this is one actually. This is a question that popped up on your YouTube, but it also actually is one that you wanted to talk about anyway with your ego, because you told me you were great, and that was his words. All right. Jim said, "Yeah, I'm great," and everyone should listen to me. Um, I wish you'd done this like tomorrow morning for me and tonight for you, because once you've got a beer
The
inside
amount
you,
of
it's
people who are going
hilarious.
to, yeah,
Just some sort of tyrant. That was your ego.
right.
Rabbits, right? It said on the what do you do with the rabbits remains. But what do you do with? Because like I said, one thing you want to talk about before is what you do with the rabbits once you catch them. So there you go.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, fucking ego. No, I think because I realized I was like, I felt that because of all the shit that we get on social media, and people go, "Oh, what a waste," and fucking how hungry are you, and all this. Um, I felt I stopped doing it so much now. I don't really reply to a lot of them. But I felt like I had to justify myself and try and explaining why they're a pest, blah, blah, blah. But then explaining that no, nothing goes to waste. But then obviously when I was chatting to you, I was like, well, hold on, your audience I don't need to justify myself to them because they wouldn't be listening to this if they weren't into sort of the pursuits, the countryside pursuits. Yeah, so obviously all our rabbits go in the freezer. They're all gutted, chucked in the freezer. What isn't used to feed the ferret, which obviously isn't that much in the grand scheme of things compared with the amounts we get sometimes, is so we sell most of the rabbits for bait for trapping. So they'll then be used to trap cats and mustelids and hedgehogs and shit like that. And then we give them to wildlife if we're up in Christchurch, Lord. Yeah, hedgehogs are fucking rife here, mate. Absolutely rife, and they're horrific predators. They'll
Yeah.
steal the feet off your roosting chickens.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I appreciate it. In the UK, they're in. I've done a pigeon job before, and I came back, and there was a pigeon that I'd obviously hadn't killed, but it had fallen out of a branch after I'd left. And then about half an hour later, I was carrying pigeons back to the van, and there's this pigeon with its chest opened, and it's just looking at me like, fucking hell. There's a hedgehog just hooking into its chest, and this pigeon can't do anything about it. It's just stuck there.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible, horrible little thing. And then, like the other day, well, a few weeks back, ferret fucking around in one spot down the hole. And so you're like, okay, we've probably got a hold up. So I dug to it, stuck your hand in the tunnel, bang. It's a fucking hedgehog curled up asleep in the rabbit nest. Yeah, you soon lose a bit of patience. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're cute animals and everything. And I used to be obsessed with hedgehogs as a kid back in the UK, but over here there isn't really a place for them. Dealing with one sort of conservation group, maybe about a year and a half ago, and they had all these game cameras up in the mountains, and we're talking a couple of 1,000 feet, at least. And they saw, in the space of a month, there was like, almost 30, 40 cat sightings, lots of hares, a few ferrets, stoats, and over 3,000 hedgehogs figured on these cameras. Yeah, they are everywhere.
Have you got any ground nesting birds?
But also the rabbit. That's the thing, that is, they are so. The ground nesting birds got such a hiding over here. Because of the hedgehogs, because of cats and mustelids and rats. But so it's a pretty sad state of affairs, really. In terms of the native bird life, and because there were no predators, there were no mammals before the old colonizers came here. And then so we give them to hawk rescues, and also because there's no lead in them, and also to wildlife hospital up in Christchurch. So that's what we do with rabbits. Everything gets used basically, apart from rats and cats and hedgehogs. They all go in a hole in the ground.
What was the other question I got on here? So your lurchers, to train them to work. We have touched on this already, but I want to talk specifics now rather than generalisation. So you got your lurchers, which you work with your ferrets, which we've spoken about, which they keep a distance away from the ferrets because they're not stupid. But what do you do to train your lurchers? Anything? Do you just get them to work like in a pack and they learn off the others, or what do you do?
There is a lot of that. Yeah. As obviously, the more, I mean, we've got two of the litter that we just had, so they're 10.5 weeks now, and we've had them out with us at work the past few days, and they just chill out. They might see what the others are up, see what the older dogs are up to for a bit, but then they'll just go and play, faff about, get caught in the nets, so you have to untangle them. But it's more them just gradually learning, and one day it just clicks. But we also do scent detection work when they're young. Obviously teaching them the rabbit scent and everything. Pretty basic. We use old coffee jars, drill a couple of holes in the lid, and you have sort of each time their nose goes over and touches the lid of the coffee jar, you drop a treat. And then as they get better and better and older, you can then introduce other things, and then they only get rewarded for the rabbit, what have you. So and then of course we do stock aversion training, and bird aversion training. So we can't have them being interested in chickens, etc. We do a lot of work. But it's always a bit embarrassing when you have to explain to your client why your dog's got feathers hanging out its mouth and they've only got 4 chickens instead of 12. So yes, we try and avoid that as best we can. But so it's and then obviously the basics: sit, stay, things like that.
But you get them to retrieve at all?
When the pack are working, I tried the retrieving. To be honest, comes with varying success. Some of them are much better at retrieving than others, and some will retrieve the rabbits from a couple hundred meters away. But there is when working in a pack, the pack mentality is a bit of a. They don't tear the rabbits apart at all, but they catch a rabbit. Everybody's got to have a chomp.
They all get into the pie, don't they?
And then one or two. Yeah, they just crush the rib cage. The rabbit's dead really quickly. And then one or two of them will, a couple of them that will then retrieve the rabbit back to us. But obviously, 9 times out of 10, it's all happening around us in the nets, etc. It's all pretty close quarters.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Have you used the shoot idea like I asked you about with your ferret cage? Because I asked you, remember you sent me that video and you had that bit of pipe sticking out of your, out of one of the cages, one of the hutches, and I said, "What is that? Is that for putting ferrets back in?" Have you adopted that idea yet?
No, I haven't. I should do. I should get a bigger bit of pipe and just. But then my concern, I mean, they're not going to be able to climb out of a 45-degree pipe, are they?
No, not if you put it in far enough as well.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that I don't know how advanced you are in the UK now. I mean, it's been a while since I was there. But yeah, well, we have a thing called doors over here, so I tend to just use a door to put them in. It's worked quite well. Man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unless you look at the glass door of my office, which I shut the door and one of the pups came tearing through the office, not realizing I'd shut the ranch slider and just blew the fucking glass out all over the garden. So in that situation, no, the door didn't work that well. Yeah. But I might have to do that.
Well, I just think, it's like when you come home from you always think this. I always think this every time I come home from filming. So, you pack all the kit away, I charge everything up, and you see everybody gearing up and doing that. Then you go out and you see the person doing the fishing or the shooting or the stalking or whatever. Yeah, it's great, but you never see the fucking tidy up, do you? And I just thought that's a great idea. You can just rock up beside the hutch and just slide them straight in the tube, fast load them into the tube. Job's a good one. That's it. It's fucking done, innit? One job jobbed.
I still feel that I should put like a sort of trap door on it, because otherwise, or some sort of sliding mechanism. Otherwise, if you've either got to have a lot of padding below that pipe for them to drop out, you can't have them just dropping 2 feet onto concrete.
6 foot down.
Yeah. It's weird. We've gone from we've only got 2 ferrets left within a week. So I'd have to do something like either build like a trap system, like a sliding door system on it to stop them being able to get back up. I might have to. Yeah, I mean, obviously the missus is the brains behind the operation. I'm sure she'll let me know it's a completely pointless idea. But it could be.
just because it's pointless doesn't mean it's cool and it shouldn't be done, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I've got a load of lights to go on the paddleboard to go fishing at night. I mean, that's a stupid idea, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that's mental. Why you'd be on a fucking paddleboard in the middle of the fucking North Sea at night?
Why not? What else you got to do?
Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you got to fill your time in somehow, mate.
Yeah, exactly that. What's life for that bit of risk?
I watched Corrie. I watched EastEnders. What shall I do now? I know. I'll grab a wetsuit and I'll fuck off to the North Sea.
No wetsuit. Just crack on, get in your clothes and just don't fucking be a twat and fall in.
Oh, your fleece dungarees, famously.
Yeah. See, now we're there, you see. So you got your boot, we were saying. You're strapped up now, taking it steady-ish.
Yeah. Well, I've been off work. I was off work for 3 weeks, which was pretty painful. In that I wasn't able to work. So been back at work this week in a moon boot. But today, I tucked on one of my work boots, the old Mendel's, just to try and hobble around the house and see how it goes. I certainly won't be wearing these for work anytime soon. last week was very frustrating because my partner and this guy that works for us were ferreting at the airport at night, which was great. Lots of youngsters around this time, which was a bit frustrating. But I mean, they got over 300 rabbits in 5 nights. And then on the last night, they were before the airport closed. So you can't work dogs on an active runway, so they were just ferreting to bolting to shotgun, which really shit me because I got a shotgun a few months ago specifically for this job.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get to do it. So
oh mate, that's
I'll have to
awesome.
But they very kindly sent me videos of them doing it while I was sat at home with the kids.
Which you sent me. Made me jealous.
Yeah.
So the airport job, really your airport job went well then, mate, did it?
Yeah. That went pretty well. They seem to be happy and very happy with that. And then we're back in there on Monday to do just under 2.5 kilometers of rabbit-proof fencing for them. So that should help keep the buggers out. And then it's just going to be a sort of ongoing thing at the moment, just with different, neighbouring property owners and stuff not doing anything about it, and they're just burrowing back into the airport. But yeah, this is the joys of plague proportions.
Yeah. So as you know, I went with Zoltan ferreting the other week at my dad's, and we had 5 rabbits out of Dad's garden. And I spoke to Dad the other day about it. And it was something I didn't do, and I rung Dad up the next day and went, "You need to go and do that, otherwise you're gonna have rabbits back in the garden." And he went, "They're already back." And apparently there was more in there than when we started, so I'll have to go back and have another go. There's a lot of rabbit fence in there, and it dug through, and I forgot to backfill them holes in the garden, and so they're straight back in there.
Yeah, we take to most jobs with us just to patch up holes. Like we did a job yesterday, and I've already been there several times to say, look, you've got these holes, etc., etc. The neighbouring property that I work on, I went there one night for a shoot, and there was over 200 just on this grassy area, a couple of acres by the lake. And I said, mate, I let off a couple of shots, and they all disappear straight to your property. And then he then has another fence out to another part of his property, and huge, like 2-inch deep, worn tunnels under these holes. And he's like, "Oh, now my maintenance guy's fixed the fence." Like, fuck, he has.
Yeah.
And then we went in yesterday with the ferrets for the first time, and we found 6 different areas where the fence was knackered, or the holes go under the fence, underground, and then pop up on the other side. So it'd be interesting to see how much. Oh, it is, mate. Yeah, but if you can get on top of it with that, it's so many people say, "Oh, we're rabbit proof," because they think that rabbit fencing is just a set and forget kind of thing. But you have to sort of, one client was like, "So how often should I check my fence?" Sort of, once every 6 months, once every month. I'm like, "Love, you're not even on an acre. You could start by picking up all the dog shit in your garden. And every morning when you go around, just literally walk around the fence. It'll take you all of about 4 minutes just to check, because the rabbits are so prolific coming in, but the pressure coming in from the outside. Digging all the time.
Yeah, bastards.
Yeah, good time.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Mate, anything else you want to say? We're not doing it again.
No.
To satisfy your ego.
No, fuck no. I don't think you should even put any of this episode into it. To be honest with you, and the first episode you could probably like as well. But no, really, mate, it was just an excuse to chat with you again. This doesn't need to be put on a podcast at all.
No, definitely going. It's definitely going on. Me roasting you is definitely going on.
Yeah, mate. Oh yeah, keep all that shit, because I don't want. The last thing I want is for anyone to think that I'm serious about what I do, or that I'm vaguely know anything about what I do.
Yeah.
I just wing it, mate. I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm doing. I just let the missus do the talking, and it usually involves me being told to stay in the ute while she deals with customers.
Darling, put a tight pair of jeans on.
I did get some funny looks yesterday wearing my MAGA hat at work. That was good. And that's all she said. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have any tight jeans left.
No, mate. Right, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
I haven't really got the arse for it, to be honest.
You've been listening to the Outdoorman Podcast. We're glad you're here. We'd love to connect with you on social media. Find us on Twitter at Podcast Outdoor, on Instagram, Outdoor_man_podcast, on Facebook, Outdoorman Podcast, and you can even reach us by email, dan@outdoorman.uk. Let us know your outdoor questions, and be sure to tag us when you're outside living your best life. Until next time, be the example.